America, night. But thanks be to God, this is Easter. And I have been told that Easter has a word for nighttime. And the word is so important because Easter says that nighttime is prime time for the grace of God. And I am so glad that I have this little privilege to tell you about what Easter has to say. Because if Easter says what Easter has to say, all of us representing the whole of the United States can see a better week ahead than the one that's just passed. Or at least a better month, or at least a better year, if we can hear what Easter has to say. Let me get on down now. Now they say a doctor that spends all the time in analysis, need to come. Doctor, is there anything you can offer me for this situation? I hear what I understand that you are talking about nocturnal affliction. What does Easter have to say? First of all, Easter says that, folks, all of you in America, night is a part of the experience of life. It doesn't say get over it, because you can. There is going to be night every 24 hours. Night's coming back. And sometimes night is good, but a lot of times night is negative. Folks, night is a reality. And the night of meaninglessness, and the night of purposelessness, and the night of alienation and fragmentation, and the night of vanishing hope is like the whole society is almost as if you can last for a while, but night is coming. It's coming as little night or short night. And it's coming as long night. Do I need to explain long night? Red Fox used to talk about the big one. Oh, Easter says, why don't you acknowledge that night is a reality? In fact, I don't usually at Riverside, when I was the pastor, I didn't have the freedom to say, turn to your neighbor and say, night is real. But can I do that here? Turn to your neighbor and say, night is a reality. And I've seen the night. Come on. And I don't want you to say this aloud because it's too heavy. I'm in nighttime right now. That's why Easter is such a wonderful time, my brethren. Because Easter can never be had without Good Friday. Easter makes you tell the truth about the inevitability of night. And we call it Good Friday, but it was not always called Good Friday. You know what it was called before it was called Good Friday? What we tell you? Before it was called Good Friday, according to human experience, it was called Heartache Friday, Bad News Friday, Total Eclipse Friday, End of the Road Friday, Bad Luck Friday, Demons on the Loose Friday, Recession Friday, Jim Crow Friday, Mass Destruction Friday, Brutality Friday. But because God works in the nighttime, because God finds that nighttime can be prime time, the name got changed to Good Friday. May I pause long enough for those in my audience who don't know anything about this God. And I would just like to say, the church folks here don't need this, but somebody might need to know that God is an expert in night work. God knows how to work in the night. James Weldon Johnson says, and God looked around and said, I'm lonely. And as far as the eye of God could see, darkness covered everything, blacker than 100 midnights in a cypress swamp. That's how God been working in the night from the dawn of creation. And he said, let there be light. Oh, that you might say it again. Somebody listening to me is in the dark. Somebody listening is in despair. Somebody is in chaos and confusion. But Lord, this is Easter. Can't you say it one more time? Let there be light. Oh, God works in the light, but God works in the night as well. Ask the children of Israel about this. They said when they left the land of Egypt, they were out there under the hot burning sun, and God provided a pillow of cloud by day. But the devil said, that's all right, I'll get them at night. They haven't passed this way before, and there are demons lurking in the wilderness. But God said, I can work in the night. God took the cloud, flipped it. I think that's what they and flipped it. And it became light by night. Oh, I wish you all would understand that. I understand somebody here had bereavement this morning. Is there anybody that lost somebody in the recent past? Trinity, y'all have had some heavy funerals around here. So much grief, so much grief. And let me tell you, God has a way of being with you in the darkness of the night when the grief is as heavy as you can bear. I had a member of my church, bless her heart, who said that after her husband died, she was so distraught and so left alone that she'd had him so many years until when she went back home, she said, Pastor, my light bill is going up because I never turn out my light at night. But she said, I heard you, and I think Good Friday a preacher spoke about the 27th Psalm. I heard you, Pastor, preach about the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even mine enemies and my foes came upon me. But she said, after you preached that sermon, I went back home. And I made up my mind that if the psalmist could say, the Lord is my light, that I think I'll try it. She said, Pastor, when I got my clothes on for night, for the first time since he'd been gone for many, many months, I turned out the light. At first my head was under the cover, scared to look. But I felt so peaceful. I opened up my eyes. And there was a glow in the room. God had become my night light. Anybody need God as your night light? To stand with you when you can't see your way? To make a way out of no way? God is an expert at night work. Somebody told me this morning, Pastor, I remember you preached here years ago a sermon called Night Talk. God will talk to you in the night. God will give you clarity about your vocation. But let me press on, because as I see it, the hour of power is coming close to an end. What does God do in the night? And then I'm going to check you out, because there's something from this Easter story you got to do something about. Let me do it this way. What God's grace does in the night season, folks, is, first of all, God will spend the night with you. Anybody had the Lord spend the night with you? And as the psalmist loves to talk about, a weeping may endure for the night, but joy cometh in the morning. Anybody made it all the way through the night and only got just a little of a wink, and yet when God had said it's going to be okay, you got up and went on to work as if you'd had a full night's sleep? You know about that? He refreshes you through the night and will bless you through the night. Solomon, what do you want me to do for you? Says, I'm going to bless you, man. And he'll also call you through the night and give you vocational clarity. Samuel, go back to bed. Samuel, go back to bed, said Eli. Samuel. And then the Lord says, I want you to be my spokesperson. Sometimes when you can't sleep, God trying to get something over.